at Bitcoin today. We're going to look at TRVL, and then we're going to look at ETH BTC this morning, this afternoon. Actually, it's 7 a.m. or 7:11 a.m. in El Salvador, sunny El Salvador. I'm just looking outside and I can see it's nice and sunny. It's always good to enjoy the sun in Central America, and in London it's 2:11. Okay, so there's a 7-hour time difference, and then wherever you're joining me from, wherever in the world, welcome. Okay, so let's have a look at Bitcoin. And my last stream was on Sunday. It was Sunday before daily close. And what was I looking at? Well, we were somewhere here, and I was looking at bearishness. Bearish. Why was it bearish? Well, we had a pretty miserable sell-off. It could have been bullish, but it wasn't, because it was pretty miserable. Because, as I explained, the wick was, what I needed was the wick for it to be stronger than the body, and it wasn't. On the weekly time frame. And what I was contemplating on Sunday was the possibility of a gap fill, but the CME gap was quite high up, and it wasn't realistic to fill that gap. So we had single print, and as we can see, the price only managed to go up to the 382. So that's quite interesting, because I've done a fib pull from this pivot low to the all-time high, and it looks like these fibs are being respected correctly. We have the 382. You see that here. Let me hide this information so we just stick to the basics. Here you can see, oh, actually I have to bring it back in, don't I? So on. There it is. You see here the 382, the price dropped, came up, tried to fill the gap. These single prints wasn't able to, and it just found the resistance off the single print. So even though I had a short idea here, if it was to be able to come up to hit this trend line, that was what I was thinking about initially. The reality was it didn't do it. So obviously I didn't do anything there. It could have come down to this 50 fib, and as you can see, it came down to find support, lost support, and now we're finding resistance. Okay, so we're still looking quite bearish right now, because we're losing levels. When you're losing levels, you're bearish. Yeah, signs of weakness, losing levels. Signs of strength, reclaiming levels and flipping them back into support. So now we're in a situation where we're losing levels, and we're heading down to my kind of a little bit more of a target area, which is the golden pocket. And so let me have a look at that now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this fib trace up, hide these levels, and I'm just going to quickly have a look at the order flow to see what's going on there. Already we've got some gaps filling. Look at these gaps. So we formed some gaps going up, and then we just lost it immediately. I don't know why it's done that. You've got massive selling tail. Look at that selling tail. Wow. Let's have a look at the imbalances. Wow, it gapped down. So actually this is quite good. I can see some bullish divergence forming here. We had some liquidations earlier on today. You see these pink bubbles. We had some liquidations here, and now we're forming some bullish divergence. You see how the CVD's gone down and the price is actually going up. You're putting higher lows on the price, and you're putting lower lows on the CVD. So that's actually quite bullish. In the local area here, this is locally bullish, but when you're looking across the range, Not yet. It's kind of following it. It's just following the price. The CVD is following the price. When you're looking locally in the last couple of hours, you can see that there's some bullish absorption forming here. We're above the daily open. We're above the VWAP. That's not a bad place to be for bullishness, actually. So I would argue that maybe we're a little bit bullish today. Let's have a look at the candles, daily candles. Let me just hide all this information now for the time being. Let's have a look at that. So we had a pretty disastrous daily candle yesterday. It's a pretty strong red bearish candle, closed underneath the previous day low. We've gone down now, cleared liquidity all the way down to 108.641. Now we're trading back above daily open. Yesterday's volume was increasing volume, decreasing prices. It's bearish. That's pretty bearish. And what I really want to do now is kind of zoom in a little bit, do some volume range pulls to see what the volume is looking like. Let me just pull up my volume. Got the local volume up there, got the higher range volume there. So let's just have a look at the volume to see if we find anything interesting here. I'll do 2 range pulls. Update these a little bit. You can see that the point of control is all the way up the top. So for both of these volume pulls, the point of control is all the way up there. So it's pretty bearish. That means there's a bit of trap liquidity there. We've got local bar. There. Perfect. All right. Let me also do another volume pull. I'm going to do it from this pivot low here or thereabouts. Again, you see the point of control is right up there. Yeah, and this is where we are pretty bearish right now. Yeah. Yep. What needs to happen now is, and actually I could zoom out a little bit more and pull more data. I could probably do another pull here. The whole lot. Let me try that. Oh, okay, this is quite interesting. So we're coming into the value area high of this overall range. Trying to find a little bit of support here off the value area. And we've clearly got some kind of high volume nodes here at about 104, 105. Got some high volume node there, which is the value area low area. Okay. So I have an idea now of what the volume is like. And what I did before was a fib pull. I did it from there, and I'm going to do it from here. And do it from 2 places. If I can get this magnet to work, there you go. So that's quite interesting because we're coming into the value area high of the overall range here, and we're coming into the 236 of this higher fib pull. You see that? We've lost the 50 fib here. We're kind of stuck a little bit. We're coming to a little bit of support here. We've got some higher time frame support here. There's 236 plus the value area high. I don't mind actually. I don't mind the support here that's forming actually. So we've kind of gone down, and now we're just finding support. when you look at that with the bullish CVD, actually that gives you a little bit of confidence that maybe we could actually go up and not down, especially since we're above the daily open and we're above the VWAP. And so let me just go back to my long short trade idea. So possibly here we do find a little bit of support to go up to back test that trend line. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Let me update these because obviously these are not correct. So when they're not correct, you just move on to the next idea, next trade idea. I mean, arguably you could say that there is a trade up along to be had here because we've put in some pivot lows here. It's quite wide. What's the market structure like? Oops, sorry, my table banged. Lower low. There you go. There's your first higher high. Lower high, lower low. That's your higher high. So as long as we don't take out this low, we could actually change 5-minute market structure here, which is could be quite good to see. And then we could start seeing the price rally a little bit. We look at the local range, around local range here. Yeah, I think stands out for me. I mean, it's not an obvious long here, but there could be a long here just because of the way the price is kind of finding support here, putting in higher lows at the moment. Got a first higher high on the daily time, on the 5-minute time frame. You'd have to have quite a wide invalidation to make this happen. But it would be basically be something like this. The problem is, is there a good risk to reward here? 1 to 2, possibly 1 to 2. Possibly for a 1 to 2, you have to have a validation there. You don't want the price to go down and still be in the trade. It's not great, is it? But you are putting in higher lows here, so it is possible to improve the odds here for a 1 to 5. And honestly, I think we probably want to go back up and hit that kind of that formed trend line. And there is another trend line forming here, slightly steeper. It's getting steeper. So you kind of want that to break. You kind of want that to break. You want it to come on this, to hit this outside trend line. If this 236 holds, kind of you just want to. I do feel that we probably want to short there as well. It's from a reaction. It's the wrong one. It's a tricky one because you kind of want to take out that pivot high and then drop. And I still think we probably need to go down. I still think we probably need to go down to just trap lots of people. Bam. To come down here, which would be the golden pocket of the higher time frame here. But I think locally what you're looking at is when you're looking at the CVD, we're getting some, as long as we don't take out these lows, we're getting a bullish CVD forming here. We've lost daily open, unfortunately, but we're coming back. I see some longs have been stopped out, and now some shorts are entering. Coming into the VWAP, we're above the VWAP. As long as we don't put in a lower low here. If we put in a lower low, the CVD is invalidated and it's just continuation of bearishness. And so that's the question. So is the CVD leading or not? Yes. So you could take one stab at a long here, possibly. If this wants to go up, it will go up. And ideally, you want a wider invalidation. But the risk to reward is obviously better with a smaller invalidation. Often when you get consolidation on support, that's bearish. But I wouldn't mind if we get kind of went up and then come down, you know, rather than just go straight down. But if you go straight down, you go straight down. There's no messing about with longs. But there is a possible long here. And then you have a possible short there. And then going down to this kind of this area here, which is what I was initially thinking about, is the golden pocket from this pivot low to that all-time high. And it kind of coincides with the value area low here. I wouldn't mind if we did actually go down to the value area low, lost the golden pocket, reclaimed the golden pocket, and then broke that trend line for a bit more of a rally to the upside. So break it and then rally all the way up to the point of control. It's kind of what I'm thinking at the moment. And that will take us to the point of control and the golden pocket off this move to the upside for another sell-off, basically. And so I do think we're forming kind of bearishness at these highs, and the structure is starting to look bearish. Let's have a look at what the current price action is doing here now. The other thing to look at when you're looking at Bitcoin is to look at ETH BTC to see if the flow of is going into ETH, and it is. You see that? So the pullbacks on BTC right now is capital rotation into ETH. You see that? That usually gives me a clue that we're actually quite bullish. When you see that the capital flow is into ETH, that's what's pulling the price down on BTC to a large portion of the price action. And that usually means that BTC is finding some kind of support or local support, which could mean the price is about to rally a little bit, which kind of gives me a little bit more confidence about longing here. Again, I said that's the absolute invalidation, that pivot low. But obviously, if you want a good trade, you need a higher risk to reward. And so therefore, it'd be nice if you can get a tighter invalidation with this local CVD forming without taking out these lows. If you take out the lows, the CVD is invalidated. And that's why I think it's better to have a slightly tighter stop. And you have a much higher risk to reward ratio, 1 to 5 or so. And then you'll still be looking for a short. And then still looking to take it down, but you never know. I mean, it is possible for the price to come here, put a higher low here and break out from here. Yeah, hold here and break out. It's possible. So again, when you're trading like this, you have to take your profit when you hit your first kind of big support resistance level. If you're in profit, you don't just hold and hope for higher, hope for lower. You have to take profit to make that work, right? So I think that's BTC for the time being. Pretty short update. I'm not going to really go into much more depth, but I think that was pretty interesting. I was looking at ETH at Sunday. I saw that it was bearish again. It was bearish because you got rejection from all-time highs. I was hoping that we'd go up to kind of, and it didn't. So it was really bearish. It was more when that happens, it's more bearish than you expect. It's more bearish than you think. So anyway, the idea of shorting was correct, but obviously it's hard to, when you're getting this kind of price action, it's hard to catch it. I'm just looking at high, low, high, low. Let me have a look. High, 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 low, high, high. Interesting. That's a V-shaped recovery on ETH. Let me have a look at that. all the way up to there. We're down into the golden pocket. We found support back up to the 50 fib. Bit of a brutal sell-off from the all-time high, pump and dump into the all-time high. Clearly, some people have been taking some great profit. Yeah, I mean, it does look bearish. It looks bearish here. So ideally what you want to do is you want to just stay here now and consolidate, and that would be nice. Consolidation underneath resistance is bullish, but that's going to take some time to play out. When I'm looking at ETH, I'll often, if not always, look at ETH with ETH BTC. ETH BTC on the left, ETH on the right. Yeah, we got a sell-off on ETH BTC and we're kind of finding support. We're coming back up for a little reaction. I do feel like we should go up more on ETH BTC. It might take a little bit of time because obviously the price doesn't go in straight lines. You get these kind of mid-move corrections. I wouldn't mind if that happened, to be honest with you. But it's hard to tell here what's going to happen. It's hard to tell. Let me pull the volume as well. See what the volume is looking like here. Total volume. If that draws out correctly, it's not drawing out. I don't know why. So annoying. There you go. Wow, look at that point of control at 1,600 above the value area. It's quite a big range in price movement. No insight, no insight. But that, for me, that list is starting to look bearish on ETH here. Ideally, what you want is you want ETH to find support. And so we're into resistance right now. It either has to find support or it has to consolidate underneath resistance. Yeah. We've taken the all-time highs out. So we are potentially going to consolidate here underneath resistance. And that's what we want to see. We want to see what the consolidation is like. ETH BTC is still going up. Okay. You can see it's still going up. So that's a good sign, because usually when that happens, it usually means that BTC is finding support. Usually, that's what it usually means. Not financial advice. We get a little reaction here. Look at that. See that? So I feel like we are finding support here locally, and that's kind of why ETH BTC is kind of going up. See that? And then let me just have a look at these other tokens to see, are they reacting the same way? Similarly, Solana, similarly. Have a look at these tokens and see how they're reacting to the price. CoinX dropped a bit, didn't it? It's back up again. See, I told you on CoinX, every dip is a buying opportunity. Look at these ones. Cake. What's that looking like? That's all right. All right, so I think I've got BTC. I think BTC is coming into a little bit of support now. Let's just have a look at MicroStrategy. I haven't looked at MicroStrategy for a while. It's interesting because BTC put in all-time high, MicroStrategy didn't. There's a little bit of divergence there. It doesn't, for me, it doesn't look like MicroStrategy is impulsing. It still looks quite corrective here. So it is, I am thinking myself, maybe that is what we're looking at, some kind of ABC type move for a breakout to the upside there. I wouldn't mind seeing MicroStrategy take out the all-time high, or whatever it's called, strategy. So let's just see what that looks like. I'll quickly have a look at some other things quickly, and then I'll go on to TRVL. This is S&P 500. Not very interesting. Same SPX, same. Russell 2000. So this is interesting. So I wouldn't mind if the Russell 2000 breaks the all-time high. I think that would be a really strong signal for risk on crypto. And we haven't seen that since November 24. And we haven't seen that since October 21. You see that? And that's when we had a really good pump back in October 21. And last year in November, we had a really good pump. We're kind of getting into that place again, where we're going to come in, we're approaching the all-time highs on the Russell 2000. So I do feel like we're close to something big. Let me just get rid of all that stuff. Potentially, it looks like a V-shaped recovery. If it can take out the all-time high here, that would be a really nice V-shaped recovery on the Russell 2000. And that would be really bullish. It'd be really bullish to see that. And then maybe we can get a little alt season once that happens. So it's kind of my eyes are on that at the moment. What else can I look at here to give me some clues about the future? Look at the total market cap. Total market cap is still finding support on that previous all-time high there. So it's still okay. We can kind of hold here. It'd be nice. Total 2 is obviously dropped. Slightly different, but it never really did it take the all-time high. Slightly, just. And let's look at total 3. Total 3 never took out the all-time high. So that's what we want to see. We want to see a massive rotation of capital into total 3. That's away from BTC and ETH. And ideally, what we want to see is we want to see total 1 or the total market cap push to higher prices, to higher valuations, and ideally, we want to see it push past 4 trillion, 5 trillion, and then I have a really nice 618 target at 6 trillion. If we can get that, then we're going to get this total 2 and total 3 fly like there's no tomorrow, and that's what we want to see. Let's go back to BTC. Looks like BTC is dropping again. Yeah, it's pretty kind of illiquid. That when you see these kind of up and down, really sharp ups and downs, it's illiquid. Bizarrely, BTC is illiquid right now, a little bit illiquid. Let me have a look at the order flow. Coming into the daily open off the VWAP, we're kind of stuck here right now between the daily open and the VWAP. It's somewhat liquid. You can see that the CVD is still bullish. As long as we don't take out these liquidation lows, I think we're still bullish. If we take out these liquidation lows, then the CVD, bullish CVD is invalidated. Okay, so as long as we kind of hold these liquidation lows here, then we have bullish CVD forming here, which means that you have large entities, large players, bigger whales. They've got big limit orders. They've set big limit orders, and they're absorbing the price. They're absorbing the price, stopping it from going down. So the only way for the price to go down is from market selling. And when you've got limit orders absorbing the market selling, and eventually what happens is the market selling stops, just diminishes, it runs out, and then the price starts to move in the other direction, which is up. So that's kind of what we want to see. You want to see bullish divergence continue without bearish divergence forming here. That's what you want to see. And ideally what you want to see, the next kind of thing to see here would be for the daily open to flip into support. We tried once, failed, we need another attempt. Okay, it flips into support, and then you're going to start seeing this price action rally to the upside. Probably it's the most probable outcome here. You can see that there's some single prints. I think it's possible that we'll fill those single prints quite quickly. That'll bring us above the daily open, and then you're into a selling tail, and that possibly could fill again quite quickly, and that'll be quite interesting to see. Yeah. Okay, there's nothing interesting there, but it is it is the New York session now, so this is where most of the volume comes in. And so this is kind of where the market set the direction of Bitcoin and the rest of the markets. It's always in the New York session. So if the New York session finds support and goes up, then that's a pretty good sign. But here you see we're kind of stuck here between the daily open, the VWAP, and we have these single prints slightly above us that needs to fill if it wants to go up. It needs to fill if it wants to go up. Okay, so we're kind of consolidating here. Technically, if this is bearish in a sense that it's consolidation on support is bearish. But because I'm looking at ETH BTC and seeing ETH BTC is what's taking out the liquidity from BTC, then I kind of have a feeling that possibly we're looking to go up. Yeah, possibly looking to go up. So that's kind of my BTC analysis today. It always looks bearish before it looks bullish. Always looks bearish before it looks bullish. And that's something to bear in mind. Okay. If it's feeling bearish, if you're looking and you're feeling a little bit bearish, then it's probably bullish. Probably. Let's see what happens. All right.